We expected it. We got it. Carnage at Winged Foot. 3 players under par at the U.S. Open. Matthew Wolff is one of them. He won the 2019 NCAA Division I Individual Championship at Oklahoma State. Now the 21-year-old has the 54-hole lead at a major championship, a 2-shot lead over Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson looking to win his first major. If Wolff were to win, he'd become the youngest U.S. Open winner since Bobby Jones in 1923 and the youngest major champion since Tiger Woods at the 1997 Masters. Welcome in CBS Sports HQ golf analyst Kyle Porter, Sportsline data scientist Rick Gehman. Matthew Wolff is clearly a friend of the First Cut podcast. Wolff makes a move up the leaderboard, and he made a savvy decision on the par 5 12th. His drive found the rough. His ball was resting on a divot, so play the ball as it lies or try to remove the divot. If he happened to move the ball, then it'd be a 1-stroke penalty. Wolff surgically removed the divot, able to par the hole. He carded a spectacular 565 in the 3rd round. Kyle, it was impressive to see what Wolff did. What did you see from him on moving day?
Yeah, you know, obviously the 65 is impressive. He's hitting the ball great. He's putting great. I mean, you can't shoot 65 at a U.S. Open unless you're doing everything well. What I was really impressed by, though, is how he kind of managed his way around the course. That sounds like a kind of a weird thing to say about somebody shooting 65, but there were plenty of opportunities for him to get into more trouble than he actually did. 16, where he makes the bogey, that could have easily been a double bogey if he tries to hit a hero shot. He was missing fairways kind of all over the place, but he would always get himself kind of back aligned with the hole and gave himself plenty of birdie looks, obviously, on the front 9. And really, I thought the back 9 was just super impressive to kind of manage it home, steer it home, get in at 65, and take that lead going into Sunday. So we'll see how he closes out on Sunday. That's a whole different question, but the way he managed his way around the back 9 on Saturday was pretty impressive for a 21-year-old.
Yeah, I thought it was flawless. I mean, Bones Mackay was on the call. He said him and his caddy were pitching a no-hitter. I think that's a great way to put it. It's a great analogy. They made every correct decision possible. It was unbelievable. Kyle, what he's referencing, getting yourself back into position, not trying to take too much from Winged Foot is so critical any week on the PGA Tour, let alone at a U.S. Open venue. So they managed their way around this course. His putter got hot on the front 9. He goes out in 30, but now he has the very tough task of being 21 years old, sleeping on a 54-hole lead at the U.S. Open, getting the comparisons to Bobby Jones, to everything else that's going on. It's probably not going to be much rest for Matthew Wolff on Saturday evening as he tries to close this one out on Sunday.
Rick, and I want to stay with you right there because I'm curious what you think the impact is of not having fans at a major championship. You know Winged Foot, you know it's outside of New York City, you know the raucous crowds that we would have had, and now Matthew Wolff gets a chance to just kind of navigate around the course, doesn't have to worry about the boos or the cheers or the gallery erupting on a shot on another hole. He kind of can just lock in. What do you think that impact has had on him?
I think it's huge, and I think it's been huge in the restart for younger guys, for guys who are not necessarily seeing themselves in contention very often. And Matthew Wolff, he's a fan favorite. He probably would have gotten a lot of that New York support on Sunday trying to close this thing out, but it's a lot of pressure when you've got tens of thousands of eyes and the throngs of the gallery just following you all over the place. So I think it is much more comfortable for him to play in a situation that he's basically been playing in his entire life, right? Outside of the starts pre-COVID, where there was a bunch of fans on the PGA Tour following him around. This is a guy who's thrived in amateur situations. He's thrived in college. I think it is much more comfortable to him to go around and knock it around in front of a few dozen people instead of a few thousand people.
Bryson DeChambeau and Matthew Wolff in the final pairing. Kyle, what would your message be to Matthew Wolff as he sleeps on the 54-hole lead?
Well, just go play your game. You know, we saw this at the Rocket Mortgage Classic back in whenever that was, I think July, which Bryson won. Wolff had a 3-stroke lead on Bryson going into the final round, and Bryson beat him by 3. There was a 6-stroke swing there in the final round. Bryson shot 7 under, Wolff shot 1 under, really struggled early on. I mean, that's going to be so key for him. What you got to watch with Wolff on Sunday, how does he play the first 5 holes? They played 2.5 over to the field on Saturday, and he played him in 2 under. So he gained 4.5 strokes on the field on Saturday on those first 5 holes. Can you do that again on Sunday? You don't even have to play him under par. You've got a 2-stroke lead. Just playing even, and you're picking up ground on the rest of the field, and probably on somebody like Bryson, who bogeyed those first 2 holes. So get yourself settled in. We see Wolff. I mean, he's very emotional. He's very lively. He's very energetic. He could not get himself settled down at the Rocket Mortgage Classic when he took that lead over Bryson going into the final round. Can he do that on Sunday? I think it's going to determine who wins the U.S. Open.
Bryson DeChambeau 2 shots back after a bogey on 18. Rick, what would it mean if Bryson were to win his first major on Sunday?
It would be big. I mean, this is the culmination of everything that he's put in, all of, his entire career, right? This goes further than just the weight gain. This is the single length clubs. This is him trying to putt side saddle. This is the culmination of a lot of years of Bryson DeChambeau trying to optimize everything he can to be the best golfer in the world. And for the first time at the PGA Championship a few weeks ago, that was his first top 10 at a major in his career. So this is trending in the right direction. If he were able to win the U.S. Open, it would really put an exclamation point on what he's been doing, and it would be hard to argue with. It's fun for the memes. It's fun on the internet. It's fun to poke fun at. But what Bryson DeChambeau is doing is working, and I think this would be a huge validation for that mindset and that optimization.
Yeah, Kyle, if Bryson were to win, and you heard Rick talk about all the jokes aside, I mean, this would certainly validate what he's been working on to win his first major.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what's really interesting about this week with Bryson, and we've seen just so many people talking about, okay, how's the course set up? What does the rough look like? His style, we were, Rick and I have questioned it a lot at even a major championship, especially at a U.S. Open, where it's like, okay, the rough's going to be up, angles matter, the greens are going to be firmer. Can you just kind of brawl your way around the course? Can you kind of try to overpower a course like Winged Foot? And clearly the answer is yes, because it's working. We've seen all these guys in the rough throughout the week. And part of the reason for that is when you narrow these fairways and nobody's hitting them, it still gives the advantage to somebody like Bryson, right? He's so far down there. And when everybody's in the rough, Bryson hitting wedges out of the rough is better than Zach Johnson hitting 4-irons out of the rough. So I really think that aspect of it is fascinating. And I think it, like Rick said, it validates everything that he's doing, that it would work not only at a place like the Rocket Mortgage Classic, which is a kind of a normal PGA Tour stop, but that it would work also at Winged Foot at a U.S. Open. And so far that's been the case. We'll see if it remains that way on Sunday.
As for the guy who had the second round lead, 2018 Masters champ Patrick Reed, struggled mightily in the third round. Bogey and a double bogey on 10 and 11, then 3 straight bogeys on 13 through 15. He's now 8 shots back after a putrid 7 over 77 on Saturday. Rick, what the heck happened to Patrick Reed?
Yeah, I mean, Kyle and I were kind of talking about this all week long, that he's been playing with fire, and he continued to play with fire through the first 3 days, and he got burned on Saturday. It's the combination of missing a ton of fairways, not putting yourself in a great position off the tee, and that was okay on Thursday and Friday. He was able to get away with it because his iron game was so good, his around the green game was so good, and he was able to roll in a bunch of timely putts. But you're looking at a bunch of squares on that scorecard. You've got a double bogey on number 11, and he just couldn't get away with it any longer. I mean, he regressed to the mean. He came back to earth, however you want to put it. It's tough sledding at a U.S. Open, especially at Winged Foot, if you are not going to be playing out of the short grass. It doesn't matter how good your short game is, and that was proven to Patrick Reed on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree with Rick. His short game got tested down the stretch, and when you test something so many times, you almost have to be perfect with your short game when you're not hitting fairways like he is. And this is a little bit the way that I'm thinking about Bryson and Matthew Wolff on Sunday is okay, is this going to go the same way that Patrick Reed went? Because they're also not hitting fairways. They've also been a little bit all over the place. So is that short game tested like it was with Reed, and does it fall apart for both of those guys like we saw with Patrick Reed on Saturday afternoon?
3 players under par. The other third one is Louis Oosthuizen, who's a major champ as well. Kyle, who's your pick to win the U.S. Open entering the final round, and what do you think the winning score is going to be?
I've gone back and forth on this. I'm going to settle on Matthew Wolff just because he's got the lead. He's hitting it really well. Even I struggle with the off the tee stuff because he has been in the rough. That's not a great way to win any tournament, much less the U.S. Open. But I am going to stick with him. I think he gets it done. It's something like 3 under, 2 under, maybe. I'll say 3 under. Say Matthew Wolff at 3 under beats the rest of the field.
Yeah, I like 2 under, and I also like Matthew Wolff. I'll ride with that. Listen, he's 21 years old. He's almost too young to know any better, that he's not supposed to win a U.S. Open this young, that you're not supposed to miss every single fairway. But what I think is the most telling part about him right now is his mindset. And he said in his post-round interview, by only hitting, 2 fairways like he did, he taught himself that he can still find success while playing out of the rough. And that is a great way to look at it if you're going to continue to miss fairways and you're going to continue to challenge yourself. He proved that he can do it on Saturday. I think he does it on Sunday, and he's our U.S. Open champion.
And if he were to win, he'd become the youngest U.S. Open winner since Bobby Jones in 1923, youngest major champ since Tiger Woods at the 1997 Masters. Going to be fun on Sunday at Winged Foot. Kyle, Rick, appreciate the time. And for more awesome golf content, check out the First Cut podcast with host Rick Gehman, Kyle Porter, Greg Ducharme, Mark Immelman. Tournament previews, DFS picks and analysis covering the storylines that matter the most. The First Cut podcast. Download and subscribe today.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.